we're off. Yeah, I'm in the Caribbean, as they say. I always thought it was Caribbean. And so all the people that I
it's
meet,
Caribbean?
all the Jamaican people that I meet here are, it's Caribbean or the Carib. And I was like, oh, well, okay, fine. No, we had it all messed up.
I guess you would know.
Right? I mean, sounds like you would probably know better than I would.
We just Americanized it, put our little spin on it.
Absolutely. I haven't heard any. I heard a Canadian person say Caribbean, and it's funny, when I first learned the word, it was the Caribbean because it was when I went to Disneyland and they had the Pirates of
the Caribbean.
See?
Oh my God!
Right? So how is it that we just were like, yeah, but that's Disneyland? That's just Disneyland talk. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing.
Man, they got
world.
Right. They got children singing in high tones talking about it's a small world.
Damn person in a mouse suit.
In a mouse suit.
What do they know?
What do they know? Have you ever known anybody to be a character at a amusement park?
No, but my but my best friend in high school was our school mascot. And then my best friend in college worked at a bookstore, and she would have to wear the outfits when they would celebrate a certain book for kids.
Yeah.
She would have to put on the big Clifford the dog.
Yeah.
And she would ride around in the back of a truck.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Waving at everybody.
I'm just thinking about Clifford the dog, a big ass red dog. Like, yep, what was her name?
Gretchen.
That's
there
Gretchen.
There she goes.
God, I love that girl.
Oh my God.
I had a friend who was the mascot in college, and I didn't know it for so long. He kept it very under wraps. I was just like,
was he embarrassed?
I don't know. I think it was just something about anonymity. Maybe he just was like, yeah,
I get to be who I want.
I'll be who I want in this outfit. And I always used to wonder, I'd look in the middle of the game and he'd be it was he would dance and it was a whole
that's cool
thing. And I was just I wonder who that is. I was wondering, I was like, how do you get that job? Hey, look, I got a particular set of skills. And they might they might just fit in
a lot of dancing and spitting.
And so he finally totally and pointing.
Really into pointing.
Really into the points. This is where we're pointing. This might be the greatest start to my podcast ever. And I should have known that because I think we're a bunch of clowns.
I think you and I have a kindred spirit.
Yes.
I think there's a soul connection.
Soul connection. Got a real
started on day one.
A real hard time, getting serious. I miss you too. Yes. Yes. The world needs a little bit more of Claudia and Joseph, right?
Right? I mean,
just a little bit.
Yes.
And not to say we're the only people who have a hard time taking things seriously. But that's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
When it gets so serious, you just gotta laugh it off.
You just gotta laugh. Yeah. You and I have a very easy time making things fun.
You're right. Right. Damn right.
Even in the hardest of times.
In the most difficult of times.
We have found a way to laugh our way through it. And
God.
you have been instrumental in my sanity.
Instrumental in my sanity.
Yes.
So speaking of sanity, where are you at? Or where are you at on the scale?
Oh, I've lost it.
Lost it? Okay, cool. Yes.
But it's good. I mean, this pandemic has just it's been a roller coaster, especially with who will be a 3-year-old on Saturday. It has been 3 years of Kirby. I mean, she is a nut. She is just a nut. She's a beautiful, weird, just so weird.
So weird. She's weird.
She's so weird, and she's so awesome. And she just I posted this recording of her the other day, and she just looked over at me and she was like, blah, 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 blah,
yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at that one like, what the fuck are you doing?
Away, just blah, 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 blah.
And then she stops, and then I heard you do it again, and then she picked it right back up.
Yeah, so that's my kid, and she's amazing. Like, oh. And then I have she'll be 7 months on the 17th. So it's a full house. I'm really grateful for daycare. Really grateful. Like they go to daycare, both of them, and they're together. And I have an amazing daycare provider. She's awesome. And they go to daycare 4 days a week, which is great. Like my sanity came back around, but when the pandemic started, we had Kirby at home for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then trying to figure out where, working at the Boys and Girls Club, where, how that was going to work out working from home, and then having the 2-year-old, and then Jason, luckily he and I have a tendency to laugh very easily. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
A 3 and 7 month.
Yeah. Luckily she's cute. Thank God. The 7-month-old, like she's very she smiles a lot. She's really smiley. She's,
good.
Super chill. We just did sleep training, or I should say I just did sleep training because mothers do everything. And we do, but I do have a partner that does a lot.
Yeah.
But
I really appreciate it. She said, I'm glad she's cute. Because we've seen some ugly children out there before, and it would be a lot different. And I know you would be like,
my baby's not that cute.
He's not that cute.
It's like when you do see like a friend who just has a baby who has a newborn, and you're like, well, there's your baby.
That's look at you. Look at you. Your baby.
Just like, oh man, that's lovely.
Congratulations on
this child.
On something. I'm not.
I know. It's just like when she was in utero, my kids were in utero. I was like, Lord, just please don't make them ugly.
Just, if you're listening to me,
listen to me.
Just throw me a solid here.
Throw me a solid.
Come on. Just don't make these children.
Don't make them ugly.
Ugly. God. Lee.
And we got blessed twice.
Sure.
Cute, very cute children.
So yeah, what's that been like with the Lee? Because like people talk about trying to transition from like working from home and not having like any where to go, right? And so how has that worked out with you and Jason? Like, do you have corners?
Oh yeah. Luckily,
okay.
we have a big enough place. I mean, it's small, but it's big enough to where he has his own office, and I have a place carved out in our bedroom.
Okay.
And before though, when I was on maternity leave / work,
Yeah.
I was in the living room with the baby trying to
Yeah.
do work. Yeah, it was insane. But I mean, he has his own spot, and we, I gotta say, we do all right
Yeah.
when there's not a kid involved. Like
The variable.
when Kirby was home and I would need a couple of hours here and there for work, that
Yeah.
it became sticky because he works hard. He works, for tech, and they
Mhm.
and being home, there's no commute, there's no this, so they I think they expect more out of you.
Oh yeah. E-
So
Even if no one has the expectation, I think you could put it on yourself because you don't have
completely.
you really don't have shit else to do.
Tech is not my world, and it's always, especially in the beginning when we first started dating,
Yeah.
it was so amusing to me when I would hang out with all of his friends, and they were starting to get to know me. They're like, "So what do you do?" And they're all just like, "Tech, tech, 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 tech,
Yeah.
tech."
Yeah.
And I would be like, "Yeah, well, I'm a swim coach at the Boys and
It's a
Girls
girls club.
Club." Really?
What's that like?
or I just got my doctorate last year, and so I would talk
Yeah.
about that, and they were like, "Oh, academia," and I'm like, "Yeah, man," so it was just this huge contrast of
And,
like things I would be studying versus what they were talking about.
and you were getting your doctorate. You were getting your doctorate in women's
Spirituality,
correct?
philosophy and religion with a concentration in women's spirituality.
And what was that like trying to explain to people? Because
I
you were
had some people, automatically assume that I was going into some sort of religious, like doctrine, like becoming in some like priest or something, something
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I, no, but talking about that, they would, of course, get the confused look on your face, like most people, like, what is women's spirituality?
Sure.
And I would then have to go, well, it's really under the umbrella of ecofeminist, feminist philosophy and activism. They'd be like, okay. And I'm like, and then I would take it down even further and go, well, think social justice issues,
Mhm.
and where do women fit in our society?
Sure.
Where do women fit in religion? Where do women fit in,
Yeah.
in this world? And so how do we expand that? And they're
Yeah.
like, oh. And then I would take it down even further and go, my real love and passion is in conflict resolution.
Yeah. That was what the your dissertation was on,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
My dissertation was on I've been sober 19 years. And so my dissertation was on the night.
Before we started, oh my God, this is hilarious. I'm sorry. See, this is what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
We can't be serious for shit.
No.
So I'm making my bed.
Right.
And I open a drawer I've never opened next to the bed.
Okay.
There's a Bible in it. I'm like, wait, what? Is
it the Gideon Bible?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I opened it halfway. I was like, it's a Bible. I'm gonna close this because I don't.
You're gonna burst into flames.
Right. Gonna combust. Boom. There you go. No, I just didn't. I was like, well, I'm not gonna read it right now, and it's not what I'm looking for at the moment. I was telling you about the headphone piece that I couldn't find. But either way, 19 years.
19 years, right? Boom. Crazy. It's mind blowing. It's it's definitely mind blowing. And the fact that next year will be 20, that's just, God willing. Yeah.
Please. Please. I mean, like we talked about this before. Look, when the world's coming to an end or on our last day,
right.
Okay, we're throwing all that shit out of the window.
I'm going to be like, I have this, because I tell my sponsees, because my sponsees are just like, sponsees are people you sponsor in AA, working through the 12 steps. And they're like, God, are you going to be doing this forever? And I was like, I never tell myself that.
Yeah.
I never, there is this dream. I don't know how good this is to say, but that I'll be on my deathbed or it'll be the end of the world, right?
Yeah, whatever comes first.
Whatever happens. And Kirby and Ven, they're going to tap me on my shoulder and go, Mom, is there anything that you need? And I'll be like, I need you to call Uncle Joseph. I need you now. And you tell him it's on.
It's on.
And then he's going to come over with everything that we need.
Say, we're going to say our goodbyes now, because when he gets here,
you don't want to see this hot mess.
You don't want these droids.
You don't, this is not the drugs you're looking for.
These are not the droids
I'm looking for.
I'm looking for. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that have there been times where it's been harder than others? Because you're extremely open about talking about something.
Oh yeah. Whatever you want to know.
Like super comfortable about it. And sobriety is complex, right? Like I think some people approach it in this way of like, well, it's just stone cold, like I stopped. And it's like, well, okay, that's what if that's the way you did it, great. There's people who relapse and
totally,
the more I think about it, there can be this very like unwritten rule of like maybe how you're supposed to do it. And I mean, I never really thought about it that way, but I know people, I've met people, I was like, well, if you're trying to quit something, or if you're trying, that's just really difficult. And it's, I guess it's like an added stress of like how you're supposed to do the thing.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own story. You can't really, in my opinion, call yourself sober if you're on something. Like there are people that will quit drinking, but then still smoke weed. And that's their own. And I have to each its own, no judgments on live your life. You live your life.
Who am I? Who am I?
For me, I just, my life was just really going nowhere. And so my sponsor said it really well to me, because about 3 weeks in, and I'd quit everything except for cigarettes, which were the hardest, actually.
Yeah.
That was a process. But, and she just said to me, you know what, just give it a year, because I had never known life without drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
Since I was very little. And so she was like, just give it a year. Then you'll have choice, because you'll know life with or without. And if your life hasn't changed for the better, then you can always go back. I mean, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
And as far as like your question before, like temptation or what, the only thing I've ever been tempted for is weed.
Yeah.
Like, alcohol, like I really loved it, but but weed was
your thing.
I was like stoner Claudia.
There goes Claudia.
It was my sane was like, just a second. Like when people be like, oh, you want to go do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, in a minute. Like, because I was just on the couch smoking all the time. And so that I think it's more nostalgia, of just a funny, especially with everything that's going on in my life with the kids, and with, I'm kind of working 3 jobs and have 2 children, and, just this whole, like, there is this, like this, remember, like, remember back in college, because college was the golden years. Those were the fun, in the early 20s.
That's right. You were smoking next to Gretchen right before she got on her damn shift.
I gotta make sure she hears this.
Please.
Oh my God.
And
the nostalgia of like just we had a really good time.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's this has got to be extremely difficult. And maybe this says more about you, that you're that comfortable and you've been in it so long that even during the most chaotic time we've ever lived through, you're like, well, still can't go back.
Well, I've always equated it to because there have been a lot of pitfalls in sobriety. It's just life on life's journey. And I've always been like, I don't want to pile shit on shit. Because if nobody needs a pile of shit.
Nobody wants a pile of shit.
Because I know if I do something, if I relapse, I'm gonna have to deal with this.
Yep.
When I just need to get through this.
Yeah.
So I keep digging my way out. So it's just, I don't want to have to deal with it again. That's why I think when I'm 80 plus, I'll just be like sitting on a front porch with you hanging out. We'll see.
Did you ever see Inception?
I did. Yeah.
You remember when they go underground? I forgot what country they're in, but they go underground and all like the older people are like hooked up and they're in their dream. They're all in their dream states.
I think I remember. It's been a while.
Okay.
I have a bad memory.
So there's this like interesting. That's true. You do have a bad memory.
I really do.
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. I know.
There's so many blurry spots.
Part of me, as soon as I asked that question, I was like, she doesn't remember.
I remember the movie. I remember him walking on the walls.
that he was doing.
And like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like
doing that thing.
Him floating. What's about? Yeah.
Either way, there was so they go when they're trying to make the serum. They need to go find the guy who can make it so that you can go into those deeper levels.
Right. Yes.
And they go downstairs where he has all of the older people. They're all older people and they're hooked up to like, they're in
their dream states.
They're in their dream states. But there's like 10 people lined up. And he was just saying like, oh yeah, they come down here to live, not die. Because they're in their dream state. And I was just thinking when you're 80 plus, I don't know if you're going in the Inception, but maybe that's where we'll
be.
Is there room open at chair 5? Bingo. Hey, grandpa hit it off tonight.
Yes.
So do you have, what's that been like for, what's that been like? Are you a sponsor for anyone?
I sponsor 4 different women.
Okay.
We meet sometimes every week, every other week for an hour.
Okay.
We just go over what's going on in their lives, go over the steps.
Sure.
Yeah. Some of it's easy, some not. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they sober or are they okay? They are sober.
They're sober.
Have any of them talked about it being difficult right now, maybe possible relapse?
I mean, I've got 2 of them that live alone that are dealing with that.
Yeah.
One found love in the pandemic. Like she did the online dating thing and
great.
Found her soulmate. Like
wonderful.
She's on fire. She has been a real treat to like every now and then you'll get a sponsee that is just like mind blowing. Like they come in and the first time we met, she was like, oh, la, la, la. You could barely hear her talk.
Yeah.
And I was always like, huh?
What?
What?
I can't hear you.
We would be at a cafe and I'm like, yeah, and then I would just started pretending like I was like understood what she was saying.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Rate page 89. And like and then now because one of the things about AA that has been there's a tradition that you can't speak for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So, but one of the things I've witnessed in recovery, because you have to word it just so, because we're on a public platform right now.
Oh, okay.
But one of the things that I've noticed in my 12-step program is that it is incredibly racist and patriarchal. Like the recovery program is very white. And
so I see that.
And but what's been happening has just been mind blowing. After George Floyd was murdered, my sponsee she's a woman of color, and she became very angry. Like she
Hmm.
just became, and it was just because I believe in anger. I believe that
Oh
it's
yeah.
a gift to feel, especially as a woman. I was taught to smile and just kind of suppress it,
Mm-hmm.
and not
Mm-hmm.
taught, but it witnessed to my own mother. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
just witness to the women in my family, witness to the society and how they would handle anger. And there is a saying in the Big Book, which is AA's Bible, that anger, is not something that we should try not to get into it, because it can cause us to drink. We can experience maybe self-righteous anger, but I believe that anger is like any emotion, and it should be felt, and it should be, when it festers, or when we chew on it too long, it can cause us to trap us in a
Yeah.
certain time. But it can be a motivator. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, anger got me out of my first marriage and got me into grad school and got me into,
Sure.
just pushed me. And so she got angry, and it was just like so much fun to watch. Like
Yeah. Get
she would
angry. Do
she
it.
was I was just like, go girl. And
Do
so
it.
she and a whole group of other people of color have started their own kind of community
Hmm.
in this 12-step program.
Okay.
I told her, I was like, so you're not getting what you need, well, create it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Go make it. And
Sure.
now there's like committees and conferences and all this stuff going on, and
Yeah.
she is a part of it. It's like the civil rights movement of this time in
Yeah.
AA, which is just so great to be a part of. And I was like, I really wish I could join your meetings, but I can't. There's part of me that's like, God damn it, I'm white.
Son
Just
of a bitch.
what about bitch?
You
But
gotta
I'm
be
your
kidding.
best ally.
You gotta
I'm
be
your
kidding
number
me.
one.
Please.
Like,
I don't want to hang out with them anymore.
oh boys, look what we got here.
Look at what.
Oh my God.
Oh, so yeah, no, that's really important to bring up because yeah, I think that when you talk about sobriety and drug usage, and it's the historical significance within communities of color, yeah, that's really complex. And
Yeah.
so just having this kind of blanket approach to
Yeah.
substances is not right.
No. Well, I mean, it's like the Big Book, I feel like, gives us the bare bones, like a skeleton.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And from there, like, I don't ever take the women that I sponsor through the Big Book.
Yeah.
I take them through, there's the women's way through this 12 steps. There's a woman named Stephanie Covington
Okay.
who did her own kind of version of the 12 steps and elaborate it for women.
Great.
And that's what I take them through.
Okay.
And so it's like, I feel like AA as such has been a great foundation. And then from there, it's, and there are people that need to go fully by the book of AA and are very
Mm-hmm.
stringent about it. And that works for them. And, I fully support that, but it doesn't work for me. And I've had militant sponsees. I've experienced militant kind of people in the program. And I'm just always like, well, I'm still here, like,
And I'm hanging out. Yeah,
I've been doing this for a while and it's working.
Sure. But are you have you, I guess, is there anyone who's been sober longer in your group?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
In my group. I mean, I know a lot of old timers, and that's what's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are meetings where just the women, I look at these women who've got 40 plus years, and they're just hilarious. Like,
Yeah, I could imagine.
really. And I look at them, and I'll look at my friends, and I'm like, I want that. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
stick around So we become that, because they're hilarious and they get to say and do whatever they want. Like, what are you gonna do? Like that's the beauty of getting older. Like the older I get, the more people are like, oh, that's just let her go. Nobody.
Just Claudia. It's all right. She's fine.
Just let her do her thing.
Just let her do her thing. Let her sit on the porch.
Let her sit on the porch and just you kids.
And so what are some examples? Because I could think about. I'm thinking about AA and it being very much rooted in kind of like maybe this very Eurocentric approach to.
Well, it was born out of church basements.
Yeah.
And it's very white, very men, very like I think Black people weren't. I couldn't give you the dates, but
sure.
Women weren't allowed at first. People of color weren't allowed.
Yeah.
It was a very and then when you started to get drugs involved, there are some meetings where you're only supposed to talk about alcohol and that's it. And then so then NA was born, Narcotics Anonymous, and there's an A for everything. There's Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous.
Do the NAs look down at the AAs like,
We got here quicker than you.
Yeah. Oh, this is terrible. I shouldn't be talking like this.
It's true.
But it's
if
true.
I didn't do meth, I never would have gotten sober.
Here lies Claudia. I do meth.
Don't do meth.
Hey kids, don't do meth.
Don't do meth.
What was the first time? What was the first time you did meth?
Oh, that's a great story.
Strap on in here.
I was 19 or 20, and I was living in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is where I'm from.
Yeah.
I was in college. I think it was either junior or senior, and it was illegal to get tattoos in Oklahoma for a while.
Oh, I remember you were telling me that. Yeah.
You couldn't get tattoos because it was illegal to get anything permanent on your body.
Oh, Jesus.
So when laser treatment came out, then suddenly all these tattoo parlors started just popping up. But because you could remove them, and so it wasn't permanent any longer. So now, but when I was young, it was still illegal. So if you wanted to get a tattoo, you had to drive to Dallas, Texas, or Arkansas or something. And so it was me, and I probably shouldn't say who was in the car, but it was me and a group of friends, and it was late. I remember it was like late at night, maybe I don't know, late in the afternoon. I don't know. And we were all like, let's go get tattoos. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And so we all pile in the car. And at the time, there's varying degrees of what meth is. And so crank was very popular, which is mixed. It's a dirtier kind of, it's not as pure. And I had learned that it was called crank because people used to smuggle it in the crank of their motorcycles or something. So yeah, little trivia for you. And
little meth ADU for you.
We pile in the car, and it's 6 hours to get to Dallas. So you got to be committed.
That is a commitment.
Right? And so we're in the car, we're driving, and we stop at this rest stop. And only the driver has done crank before.
Okay.
And so there's three of us. There are four altogether, the three of us. And so he does it. He's like, I'll do it. And then he's like, I brought this. And we're all like, yes, stoked. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So
ready.
He does it. And then the other, he's the only man. So it's me and, three girls. And so he looks at me, and we all look at each other. And I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm good. And so he brings it over to me. I take 2 bumps in my nose. And then while the other two are getting settled up, you start just like, hey.
All right.
Well, I got a burst of energy.
Feels pretty good.
And I look over at my buddy who's driving, and he's already there. Like, and he's just his eyes, and I'm like, ah. And finally they took their hits, and I just look at him and I was like, I gotta get out of this car.
High is just too high.
Running around this rest stop, losing our minds, climbing trees. There was a big sign of Texas because we had just crossed the border.
Yeah.
These pictures of us on the top of this sign. Just
do you still have any of those pictures?
I'm sure I do. Yeah. Like there's a chest of pictures that I haven't looked at in ages. But yeah, it was awesome. It was super fun. We went and got tattoos. It was the 90s, so I got a dolphin. And it was the best time, and that's what you chase.
You're still chasing that.
That's what you chase. Like, I had a blast in my late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
So I got sober at 27. Like, I had a blast. I had a great time until I didn't.
So that's what's going to be my follow-up. Okay, so that was the first time. When was the time? Was there a time? I had a friend. Yeah. So my question is, what was the time when you're like, I can't do this anymore? I had a friend of mine talk about his coke problem. And he said he knew it was a problem when he was lining coke up. He's got, he rolls up his bill, and he looks at the guy next to him, and he's like, man, I gotta stop doing this. And once he recognized that, he told the guy right before, like, I gotta stop doing this. He was like, I have to stop. Like, I've said it finally. I finally said, but I did it anyway.
Right.
I did it anyway.
Yeah.
He was like,
you know how you're talking about quitting cold turkey, everything. I don't think I did that. I quit certain things along the way first. I quit meth first because meth, I saw it take all my friends down. And then my own drug dealer wouldn't sell it to me anymore. My drug dealer had a heart, which is like really hard to
I think most drug dealers do.
He was a nice guy. And I had quit it, and I told him I was quitting, and then I ran over there one time in a desperate, like, I want this. And he was like, I don't sell it anymore. And I know he was lying. But and so that was first, because it just, I was so meth will just, it just destroys everything. It was like even my teeth. I'm about to replace my teeth have had a whole makeup.
You have had more work done than anyone. Like I think you had like a monthly dental appointment.
Yeah.
At one point. Like, damn, girl, you going to the dentist again?
Luckily, I really like them. They're good friends of mine, my dentist.
They better be. Like, all right, here we go.
She's at my baby shower. Like, there's just lovely people. But I'm about to get, I finally had this back tooth extracted because I had just multiple crowns, and just, I clench my teeth, but meth just destroys everything. And so that was the first to go. And then, but it wasn't, and honestly, and this is weird, I didn't know I had a problem until somebody pointed it out to me. And I mean, I just dense. Dense. I was not, because I grew up in an alcoholic family, and but it wasn't a family that was abusive. It wasn't a family and that was my definition of alcoholics were, wife beater shirt stains, falling, beating their wives, beating their children, anger drunk. And my dad was like jovial and
Mm-hmm.
fun when he
Mm-hmm.
was drinking. And, I would hear, I love you. And
Yeah.
so, and just, he was just a riot. And so, so it just got to a place where nothing was changing. Like,
Yeah.
and I kept getting fired from jobs and I could not figure out why.
I don't get it.
And it wasn't like I was drinking or using on the job, but my attitude was
Mm,
just so in a minute. I got in a minute. I'll just, and I was so lackadaisical about everything. And
no.
so, I did not have a filter on my mouth. Like there were times when my boss would say something and I would just be like, and I would say something flippant back. And I just really, I had no filter. And like one of my jobs, they caught me sleeping, sleeping. It was just so not who I am in this
Yeah.
way. It's just so funny to think about, just
Oh,
how
yeah.
not driven I was. And so yeah, so it just got to a place where I remember smoking a cigarette in my backyard going, is this it? This
Yeah.
life? Because this is sucks. Like,
This is
I was like, this
not
is
what
just,
I want to do.
I'm not having a good time. Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah. And then when sobriety presented itself, I remember I was like, well, let me try this.
Yeah.
Let me see if this helps. And it did. Like
Yeah.
everything changed.
Was it the, like, I guess the facilitator of the groups that was really important? Was it the actual was it other people that were there with you? Like
It was
what
a
what
combination.
okay.
Like I had a great sponsor. Like I had a really great sponsor in the beginning who was
Mm.
just the first person I trusted ever,
Mm.
like who would just give it to me straight.
Yeah.
Like there were times when I would just call her and just bitch, and she'd be like, "You got 5 minutes to bitch, and then we're gonna work."
And then we got to
And I
do
was
some
like,
work.
"Oh." Oh. Or one time she was like, "You think you're special? You're not special." And I was like, oh, or just really cutting through all my bullshit. She was just really good at it. And but then she said something
Mm.
I did my dissertation on the ninth step, which is where you go to people and you make amends.
Okay.
And but before you get to that place, you've got to figure out what people you want to go to. So you do your 4-step.
Hmm.
And that's where just you go through this whole laundry list of resentments in your life. And I started at kindergarten and went all the way.
Oh, damn.
Like, like, you, and fuck you. And just like, and then like,
Damn, kindergarten. Woo.
I started early and you figure out your part and everything. Right.
Mm.
And so it was like it took 8 hours to go through all of it with her
Oh,
and 4
wow.
months to write this thing. And I just remember sitting there going, why are you listening to me drone
Yeah,
on
right,
and
right.
on? Oh my God. And she was just like, well, it's my honor to sit here and
Mm.
hear your story. This is an honor for me. And it was just like, so it just AA or the 12 steps or just this whole program, in my opinion, it's all about like cultivating self-worth
Yeah.
and, you know, confidence, like going to people and making amends in the ninth step. It's the first time I ever felt confident.
Mm.
Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
to do that is such an act of courage
Hmm.
to go to somebody that you have fucked over or done something
Oh, yeah.
and tell them. Like that is a huge act of courage.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that's the first time I would actually look at myself in the mirror and go, damn girl, okay. Like you just did that. Like
You did that one.
high five. Like
I didn't have these damn headphones on. I'll give you a slow clap right now.
thank you.
I'll give you a slow clap.
Yeah,
Damn headphones.
it's such a huge, because how many people do that? How
We're,
many people
we're not
go and
encouraged
right
to
the
do
wrong?
that. Yeah,
We're not.
we're not encouraged to do
That was
that.
my whole dissertation. Was
Yeah.
like what happens to the person and the psyche and the body when we take responsibility for our actions.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the first thing I mean, it's in the Bible. It's the first lesson in the Bible is how to pass the buck off,
Sure.
right? Adam blames Eve, Eve blames the snake. Like we just pass it off.
It's so, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that in a couple different ways, but for sure in my, I saw a lot of contradiction when people were telling me that, like, oh, you need to be honest and you need to, need to tell people you're sorry. But I didn't see that. If somebody was telling me that, but I was like, I'm not seeing it.
I don't see that in you.
I don't see that in you.
Yeah.
So, extreme, like, I went through something. I think we all go through some moment of that where we're just like, oh, it feels, well, not all of us. Some of us just don't ever learn.
No.
Some of us don't ever learn.
The kids at the club, when they're sitting in the area where they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I would walk by and always be like, what'd you do?
Right.
And they would, and I was like, if you want to get out of this quick, let me tell you, accept responsibility.
Yeah.
It will blow their mind.
Seriously.
They'll look at you and go, okay.
All right.
Well, that's great.
Right. So you're saying I don't have to go through this back and forth with you?
Right. I don't have to. You go. Just go. Just
get out of here.
Get out of here.
You get out of here.
I mean,
yeah, right. It like was his children, especially. It's so important, right? It's just like just let him know, like. So I was on this interview with I just got this job working as a part-time academic mentor for student athletes at the University of Virginia.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. And one of the questions was like, what if a student athlete came to you with a paper that was worded extremely well, and that wasn't something that in the past they've been good at? I was like, well, that's kind of complicated. I mean, maybe they got some help. I'm like, okay, are you asking? And I had to like clarify, like, are you insinuating that they might have cheated or like plagiarized?
Right.
Right. Yes. I was like, oh, well, I would just tell them like, don't turn that in.
Yeah. Like, or if you turn it in, cite it.
So if you have time, do that. But if you're thinking about turning this in, evaluate. Like, let's talk about this. Let's evaluate what the repercussions are.
Yes. Play that tape.
Please. Play that tape. Play it through. Don't skip over to the next song.
Don't skip the juicy part.
Don't skip the good part. Yeah. What is the and I can remember going back to times where like I cheated, like, oh my God, and not even thinking, man, not thinking one bit about like, what if I just said like, I'm not prepared.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared. Yeah. Oh, well then let's have well, why aren't you prepared?
Right. A teacher will go the extra mile. A teacher will, like, if you sit up, I was always taught, sit up front, ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
Participate. If I see a kid that's struggling and it's like, I'm struggling.
I'm struggling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's figure this out. Because it was those teachers when I was in high school, because I cheated my way through a lot of school. Oh my God. And which is just so funny to be sitting here with a PhD and like
yeah, I mean
the level
the level
of cheating.
You have no
not in grad school, let me tell you, but the level. But yeah, just to be able to say I'm struggling or I need help.
Yeah.
Or this is, and it starts when they're little. I see it on the swim team. Like sometimes kids won't participate if they don't feel that they can do it well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they get really hard on themselves and they get really down. And it's just like, no, man, you're struggling. Michael Phelps didn't start out Michael Phelps.
Right.
Like,
Like, man, right. you need to go learn more about what that young man
what
had
he
to.
went through, what, like what we all go through. I didn't,
Sure,
it's the journey.
it's the process. Yeah,
It's the process. I was listening to, I love Shawshank Redemption.
so
I
good,
love the movie. Just
so good.
love the movie. And I have a quote that I say from the warden all the time,
Mm.
just like because just like a fart in the wind. Like, I say that quote all the time. Well, it made me think of like the ending again. Because I was talking about my memory and I was like, damn, I just forgot that, like fart in the wind. And then
I don't know why.
I
Every
have no
time
memory now.
yes,
Two kids, I got nothing. If I don't write it down and then stick Post-it notes all over me. But there was I saw an interview with Tim Robbins about Shawshank Redemption,
mm.
and somebody asked him about why is that ending so good? Why does it resonate with everybody?
Mm.
And he said it's the journey. He was
Mm.
just like, it's the journey, because at the end it's earned. There's
Yeah,
this like, there's not this instant gratification that we
no,
get. There's not this you literally go through this whole like 20 years in this film,
mm-hmm.
the struggle and the hardship and
Mm-hmm.
the beatings, the literal beatings that these characters take on. And then at the end, it's hope that brought them through everything. And I
Yeah,
just think about that, because everything that's meant anything in my life
mm-hmm.
has been a struggle, has been a journey. My
Mm-hmm.
children, my sobriety, uh, just my schooling. Schooling took 10 years. Trying to
Yeah,
make a baby took, infertility and Jesus, surrogacy and miscarriages and just,
mm.
but at the end, it's like the love and it was earned. Like every bit of it was just earned. And I
Mm.
think I see so often in the kids these days, I see so often this need to have it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I ever felt that way as a
Mm.
Generation X.
Mm.
I don't know if that was ever, I knew that I had to start at the bottom. And I just didn't want to start.
Like, I don't want to start. All right.
Like right before I started grad school, I remember crying like a little baby and just being like, no.
I don't want to go.
Or even sobriety. I was like, oh God. Because you see the mountain. And then I'll never forget, I was in early sobriety and I was like, just this mountain. I feel like when I get on the other side, and my friend was like, take a step back. It's a whole landscape. It's like you motherfucker.
You got me. Damn you and your landscape. Okay. Damn you. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's something I try to communicate with kids and young adults all the time. Like we're all so fragile, and don't think just because you get to this age of adulthood
Right.
that the insecurity or uncertainty it stops. Like if anything, man, that thing grows and grows.
Yeah. You have, hopefully you have better tools
Yeah,
in
exactly.
handling it.
And
you've surrounded yourself with people that can help you out.
Exactly.
But I'm still thin-skinned. I just don't hang out with those people anymore. Or I don't like, but if somebody says something, yeah, it'll stick with me. Or if you've wronged me, I have a very hard time letting that go. I chew on things.
Yeah.
Like chew on it.
Still chewing.
I'm still chewing.
Still chewing. Yeah, there's some taste there. It's not done yet. Yeah, put that back in. Damn, this is gonna last a long time. And so maybe this is And so now let's transition into infertility.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking as you talk about like insecurity and like all these
Mhm.
emotions
Gosh.
and journey and talking about the process and seeing the end and working. I mean, I was there firsthand to
Yeah, you were.
see,
Yeah, you were.
what that was like. And
Yeah. What was
um
that like for you, actually? Curious. You're
um
like a best friend. What was
y-
that like watching me go, or seeing somebody you love?
yeah, I think one, I was so like initially it was it was such foreign territory. At
Hmm.
first I tried to probably like l- at first I was trying to understand more about it because I didn't
Mm,
know jack shit. I was like,
yeah.
I don't,
So many don't.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I don't really get it. But
Right.
I'm not. But but I want to learn.
Right. Yeah.
And then hearing, I think it was just listening to the experience of just constantly being tired. That's what
Mm,
really stands out. Just like, I gotta go to this damn appointment. I
yeah.
gotta take this injection.
Yeah.
Oh no, I gotta go do this again. Oh, I have to go learn
Mm.
because to a certain degree, this is new for you. I mean, not to a certain
Everything.
everything was
Everything. I
new.
mean, why would you learn about it if you like unless you have a friend? But
Right.
like why would you yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think I watched you. Yeah, I think I watched you. I'm not gonna lie, slowly kind of break down.
It
I,
was yeah. Yeah, it
there
was
were
awful. I mean,
and
I'm writing a book called
it,
Infertility
it
Blows.
was
It
awful.
was there's
Awful.
no I mean, there's nothing fun about it.
No.
I
Whew.
mean, it's not like yeah, it was awful. Every bit of it was not not a party. Like, and it is exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, and
Yeah.
it's mentally and like because of it, I've become a coach now, a fertility coach, and
Yeah.
part of that is when the first meeting I sit them down and I'm like, we need to figure out together how far you're willing to take this.
Mm-hmm.
What's, and that can shift and change, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but like, how far are you willing to go?
Mm-hmm.
If they've never had a baby, if they're trying for number one, they'll go to any lengths. It's like, okay,
Right, 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 right.
number two, it's like, okay, I already got number one. That's how I was with number two. It was like, okay, we got this frozen embryo. If it works, great. We have two babies. If not, I don't have it in me to create new embryos. Like, I got
Man,
nothing. I'm
man,
spent.
so we were talking about how we're able to laugh at everything,
Oh,
and I think we were still able to until, but there was a point I can't remember what we were talking about, probably something stupid, but I think we were just trying, like, I know we kept it light. I know
you
we
were so good. You were just, I knew by coming to work, I was going to laugh through the day. Like I knew. And there were times I felt like you found it to be your mission to make me laugh.
we had
Like,
to, I had to,
like
because the shit, man. I think there was a time when you had, I mean, you went through multiple miscarriages,
yeah, 5 miscarriages of my own,
right?
and one of which was twins, which was like the worst day
And
of my life.
and I think there's that day that sticks out to me when you left. 'Cause I
Oh,
think you left, right, and that's
yeah,
when I think it really dawned on me, like, what? Oh,
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
oh.
I was walking to get pains, and I was like, and I stuck my hand down. You should see me. I'm walking, I'm walking down. I'm walking down Fulton Street, and I stick my hand down my pants, and I come up, and there's just blood all over my hand, and I was like, well, and
Well,
I just
shit, man.
I walked in like a zombie.
Yeah.
And I walked into our office and I said, I think I'm having a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, I'll never forget, you slapped the table and you went, get out, go home now.
Go home.
Go home.
What
And I was
here?
like, okay. Like I needed somebody to like
Yeah.
go home.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was that was that was awful.
It was rough. Look, that's why I think there was a time, not only that time, but there was a time when I just remember, I think we were laughing at something and I think you started crying. I was like, damn, I mean, it was funny, but was it that funny? And then I look at like, oh, those aren't that's tears of like, I have hit the bottom.
Yeah.
I have nothing left to I have nothing left to give.
I have nothing left to give.
What do you want me to do?
It was just the limits that the human that I went to. And I mean, and just to give your listeners a I met Jason at 39. And I'll give the cliff notes. I met him at 39, and at 40 I was like, okay, this is my person.
Yeah.
I looked at him and I was like, if we're going to have children, which we discussed on date 1,
riding on that damn skateboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And little skating buddies. And and I was like, we better hop on this train.
Yeah.
I'm 40. Like,
Mama's got to go.
Eggs have expired. And I had already had a miscarriage with my ex-husband in my 30s.
Yeah.
But they say that, I didn't know at the time that miscarriages are pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, let's do this. And I got pregnant right away and had a miscarriage, pregnant again, had a miscarriage. All of my miscarriages were around 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And the shitty thing about our insurance system in the good old US of A is that they won't look at you until you've had 3. They want insurance. Lucky number. 3 the charm. And so they won't start doing any of the blood work or any of, because how amazing what I'm pushing for in this, to try to make things better is, what if at 30 your OB was like, all right, when you go in for your pap smear, your checkups, all right, so you're 30, we need to do a blood workup on where you are fertility wise. Just some blood tests. What are your AMH levels? What are your FSH levels? I couldn't tell you what those mean, but I know the
I wasn't going to ask.
Do you have low ovarian reserve? Do you have what does it look like? So by the time you're 35, 36 or up, you're not, you're not surprised, you're not blindsided. I deal with so many women who are just like, wait a minute, I didn't, we've been trying for a year and now nothing's happening.
No.
To have that knowledge when you're younger. So over the course, I'll just cliff notes, lots of miscarriages. We ended up using a donor egg because I was twofold. My eggs had expired, and then through the process of using a donor egg making embryos, we found out as well that there's something wrong with my uterus.
Okay.
Because I got pregnant twice through donor embryos, through the donor eggs, and I still miscarried. Okay. And so at 5, at the 5th at the number 5 being pregnant, I looked at Jason and I was like, this is my limit. I can't do any more than that.
Yeah.
We'd already miscarried twins. It was just like, I'd gone through 2 uterine surgeries to try to clean out my lady bits, to try to get all the scar tissue in there that wasn't endometriosis. Found out that maybe I was just born with this.
Sure.
And so, and so then, and that was my limit. And then we had to decide after that miscarriage, well, then how do we want to proceed? Do we want to do adoption? Do we want to do surrogacy? And we went the surrogate route. And our first surrogate ended up miscarrying.
Oh, I remember that.
With the last embryo that we had. And that was on the fucking same day I did, like a year prior.
Really?
Like the like right before Thanksgiving. And I just remember being like, what the fuck? And just, like,
Yeah. That is the epitome of a what the fuck moment.
and just like losing my mind and just, oh my God. And she was a mess. Our surrogate, these women are amazing, but she had her own spiral downfall
She
from it.
had her own, yeah.
She
And
had her
that's,
own,
it, and that's why I think it's so important that you tell this story, right? That's
yeah,
important that you document this stuff, because
yeah,
not everybody's gonna think about that.
right. I mean,
Nobody's gonna think.
and then it was like, well, it got really weird between her and I. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
got
Oh,
so
yeah.
weird between her and I because
Yeah.
she had all this anxiety and just wasn't eating, and she got that chip stuck in her throat and then had to have it surgically removed. She was yes, she could everything, like she just went through it and she wasn't
Yeah.
eating, and she started using me as a emotional crutch. And we got her help, we got her therapy, we made sure she
Mhm.
was taken care of, but there was this like resentment I had for her too,
Sure.
that I had to look at. I'm not proud of it, but it was real,
It was
because there was
real.
this part of me that was like, suck it up, man. I've had 5 of these. Like,
Don't fuck this up for me.
it's like, what, I was like,
Yeah.
whose miscarriage is this? Is this yours? Is it mine? Are we friends? Is this a business?
Wow. Yeah.
What is this? Like, where, and it
Yeah.
felt so uncharted territory. It was very murky. It was just this like, I don't know how to handle you. And then the agency we were using, this is the only hiccup that I ever found with them. I do love them. They were really good to us. But I felt that they should have broken it off with her, and instead it fell on my shoulders.
Mm.
So like I had to, because I remember
Mm.
talking to her and I was like, we're getting you help, or this, that, and the other. However, if the goal here is to make a baby, you are not healthy enough
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
to do this, and we're going to have to look elsewhere. And I remember she was like, I just feel like Humpty Dumpty. I'm just broken and nobody's going to help me. And I was like, what? What do I do
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, that seems like a conversation that should be facilitated by someone
Who's not in it. Like,
right.
who's not in
Yeah,
it.
because I was just thinking about like social worker or
The
something,
agency.
someone who works on behalf, like,
Yes,
hey,
on
like,
behalf of me,
sure.
like it. And so,
That's
so
interesting.
I haven't, God, I hope she's okay. But we ended up later, I was like, okay, for the next woman, I would like her to have done this before.
Mm-hmm.
I would like her to have, I don't want to handhold anybody. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that was probably when I started crying in front of you. Like, I think that was it. Like, and
Strong chance.
like probably
Strong.
laughing about it. And then I was like, then she got a chip stuck in her throat, and just like,
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember, like, you were talking about her and just like she was going through it, and it was
yeah.
yeah.
And so so at that point we found our surrogate, who they hooked us up pretty quick. But it was through through talking to somebody else. I spoke to one of my doctors and I was like losing my mind, and I was like, do I get to mourn this baby? Is this my miscarriage or is it hers?
Yeah.
And she was like, it's yours. She was like, it's both, but it's yours.
Yeah.
This is your baby. And she had done surrogacy as well. And that's when I found it so critical. It's like sponsoring an AA. Like, we get through it by listening to the experience of others and learning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so by her telling me her story of needing a surrogate and me hearing what she had went through, it helped me. And that's what I do with my coaching. And so it's like, I've been there, right? Sadly, I've done all the avenues. So I can, I did that. Like, got you.
Got you. Don't, no. I got you.
I got you.
Don't worry.
So we ended up our surrogate just produced both our babies,
Yeah.
Kirby and Ben now. And she was great. Luckily, she's just the strongest woman. She was awesome. We became family.
Yeah.
It was the best ending. And like, Shawshank, it was just this like earned, like when we finally held Kirby and just,
Mm-hmm.
it was in the hope, and that's the hardest, just keeping hope through the whole thing. And as I talk to so many
Yeah.
women who are just deflated, and
Yeah.
and then it's a waiting game. It's your body. It's not like you can just, you know, um, let's get her pregnant. Now you got to wait till your period is over. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's just this whole waiting game.
Sure. It's
And yeah,
such a shared experience too. That's
yeah,
like I didn't even think about this when you were talking about the miscarriage. It's like, is it my miscarriage? Is it her miscarriage?
yeah,
How does this work?
yeah,
Talking about a traumatic experience. Okay, yes, you care for this person, her
right, of
well-being.
course,
You also are like, yeah, but I have to make this decision for myself, and
right,
you're not the person
yeah,
who's going to give me what I want.
yeah,
And yeah, I also remember you going through, again, talking about this new process. And right, this was, I mean, the best education I probably could have possibly had, because you can't really get this out. Well, I mean, maybe after your book is out, maybe you'll be able to. But just hearing the nuance of like the legality of the situation, right? I remember you like talking like, I'm having to go through a contract,
yeah,
and that was even a weird process for you as well, because you're like, wait, okay, so
lawyers. Like
lawyers,
lawyers get involved.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
everything is, like down to what is she, how do I feel about her eating? How do I feel about her exercising? How do I feel?
yeah.
And I remember, God bless, I'm so grateful to her, because she and I tackled things in the same manner. And
Mm,
I remember I looked at her and I was like, "You've produced," because at one she has two kids of her own, and she also gave birth to another woman through surrogacy.
okay,
And I was like, "You've produced three healthy babies.
yeah.
I'm good. Like whatever
Hmm.
you did,
keep
do it."
keep doing it.
I don't I don't care. Like just, like yeah. So it wasn't, because I was so tired at that point. I didn't want to. Yeah.
um and so, man, I also remember I also remember this conversation that you were having. This is maybe another complexity when you were deciding who and what their ethnic background. I
Oh,
remember
the donor.
the donor, and I was like, oh yeah, because I was like, oh, like, again, just oblivious, not really thinking like, oh yeah, okay, no, this,
That was the hardest decision ever,
yeah,
because it was so layered, because there's this, when it was first approached to me, which was like the first visit that we ever had with our fertility doctor. She
yeah.
looked at all my blood levels and all the tests, and she was like, "Oh, so have you thought about donor?" And I was like, "Bitch, I got so."
I think I might use that as my clip when I post this, bitch.
Bitch. And I said, "Bitch." And I
Hell
was
you
just like,
mean? Hell are you talking about donor?
and so she because it just hit this level of like, oh no, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why we did try one round of IVF, and that didn't work out. But it was so layered, because I had to really search for, why am I so against this?
Yeah.
What is it, And it was mortality, it was like genetics, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, am I gonna feel like this is my baby? Am I gonna feel connected? Am I gonna feel like, and the jealousy I felt for Jason, because he, was gonna be connected to them genetically. And so he and I had talks about it. It was
Yeah.
very, and then who do you choose? And then that word, you remember the word mother kept coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
and people would say, "Oh, donor mom." And I'm like, she's not the fucking mother. I'm the mother. Or surrogate mom.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not the mother. I'm the mother. Like, it was just this really, that word was so triggering to me.
Hmm.
And so choosing the donor, and I remember it came between it came between Peyton, who was a lovely blonde riding a horse in her pictures, and whose parents were CEOs, and this she was
Peyton.
lovely. Peyton,
Right.
very lovely.
Peyton. Peyton.
And then Angelina. And
Hmm.
Angelina had immigrant parents.
Hmm.
Angelina was half Hispanic, half Caucasian.
Okay.
Her pictures were just gorgeous,
Hmm.
and she was an art student, and she was, they fill out these long
Oh,
these
I
questions,
bet.
and she just, I had a lot for Angelina. I was connected. Jason wanted Peyton. I wanted Angelina,
So,
and it was I think he wanted Peyton because they looked like, I don't know. There's layers to that. You'll have to ask
oh,
Jason.
I could imagine.
There's some layers there.
Hmm.
But like, what does Peyton represent? You know,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
um, and not that my partner is conscious of that,
Hmm.
but I think and and I saw Angelina as just beautiful, hardworking, motivated.
Hmm.
I was like, when I see her, I see parents that really worked for,
Hmm.
but all besides that as well. I mean, that's just, icing. I want somebody who's healthy and who's,
Sure.
so we left it to our doctor to decide. And our doctor was
Hmm.
basically like, we've had, Angelina has been like 100%. Her eggs have produced babies.
Hmm.
And so it was like, okay, done. And thank God. I mean, our children are just so beautiful,
Hmm.
and just, I can't, but choosing a donor it hits on all, it hits everything.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm
Every
this like the even writing this book and reading the book when I do and when anyone
Mm,
else does, it's going to be so much more than just the experience of like birthing or
mm,
motherhood or
yeah,
fertility. Like they're asking very deep questions about
yeah,
humanity and like
right.
yourself. Like we're going deep.
We're going deep.
We're we're, we're hey, hey, there's nothing off the table because
No, yeah.
you have dug into every corner of yourself and
Oh,
asked every single question
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's so many whys and hows and
Well,
then
yeah. I was like, why is it? And it's still like sticky sometimes when I think about the fact, yeah, they feel like my children.
yeah.
They're my children. I mean, and then it's trippy because Kirby, who is not genetically connected to me, is so much like me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm. That whole thing y'all had going on, yeah, that
she's
yeah.
she is a trip. Like,
Mhm.
she just like, and she's so weird and fun, and I see so much, like, I people who don't know that she's a donor will look at me and be like, "Oh my gosh, she's so your kid." Just like
Mm-hmm.
how we approach things, or how she, and so that's trippy, but it's just, it does it the levels of questioning that, and then the adoption question was another one. Like, do we
Mm-hmm.
adopt? Do we
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Jason didn't want to, and then as well, accepting without question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like he was like, I don't understand why. I just don't want to go down that route.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And I'm sure if we did some digging, he would figure it out. But it was just like, that's not what he wanted to do. And I, as his partner, had to respect that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, well, if that's not what you want to do, then if we go this route, this is going to be a lot. I mean, it's all hard.
And
Adoption, that's the other thing. People think adoption is just like, because I would get that question a lot.
Of course.
Have you thought of adoption?
No, motherfucker, I didn't think about adoption. No, I did not. I had one.
There's so many babies out there.
That's true.
There
You are a smart
Getting
person.
those children is a whole other thing. like adoption is just, I've had friends, and it's not an easy process.
No, it's complicated. Pick your poison.
It's all hard.
Pick your poison. Whatever way you want to go.
Yeah.
And now I would say that probably one of the helpful things that you were in. I mean, you and I have had many conversations about how impactful therapy has been.
Huge. I remember when I asked my doctor point blank, I was like, so what are my chances with my own eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got 2%. Like 2%? I was like, well, I guess we're going donor. And she was like, you okay? And I was like, I'll deal with this in therapy.
I'll deal with this in therapy. I have to go. Did you was there any, like, I don't know, did you and Jason ever do any like couples?
We did.
Okay, I was gonna say you had to, like,
co-parenting is real. Like when co-parenting, like I tell everybody who is pregnant and with child coming to go easy on each other, because it's tough. The first year is really, really tough. And you have a way of doing things, and your partner has and you don't know till the baby's here. Essentially, Jason is germy-phobia. He is like, and I'm like, whatever,
That's cool.
stick your hand in your butt. Like, I don't like. It's like, you want to paint with that on the wall?
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Like, she'll roll around in dirt. The other day, masterpiece. She found a puddle and just fell in it, rolled in it.
It's good for you.
Like, put hair on your chest. Like, this is, like, but those things just don't bother me. I want my kid dirty. And hard for Jason. But when the baby got here, when Kirby got here, I think when Kirby was 3 or 4 months, maybe less, I looked at him and I was like, we need to go to it. We gotta do this. I'm gonna be single parent.
Oh, we're going. Oh,
it was amazing. It was so good. It was his first. I've been in therapy, not now, but since 6th grade, essentially. And it was so good. It was so good to hear for him. It was so good for us, but particularly he had never seen or been in therapy, and for him to like, and for me to hear things about his stories and his life and where things might have come from, and it was huge just to figure out a language and trust and letting things go. He was, and God, I grew up. I was a nanny for 10 years, so I'm very versed in children, whereas this was his first.
Yeah.
He was freaking out. Like, he was freaking out. Like, he just, oh, God bless him. And he's such a good daddy, and he just loses mind over the littlest things. That motherfucker told me to wash my hands one more time.
It's like, dude.
But with number 2, it's so great, Joseph.
Yeah. Oh, this is like Candyland now.
He's just like, oh, we got this, and we laugh a lot more.
I remember when I was over and I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, you're indoctrinated now. You're like, yeah, I know how this goes.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all right.
She's not gonna like die. It's all good.
That's something I'm interested in my future in facilitating therapy, potentially starting a father's group.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
Because I think that's something, as we explore more areas of therapy that are, for men, because we're trying, you know, we need more men, not only as facilitators and practitioners, but more men to be comfortable in in seeking out therapeutic services, just talking, right? And fatherhood's an interesting one, right? There's this idea that you're just supposed to like do it. Like, no, man, like this, it's not, no.
And you don't have like I have a mom group.
Right.
I have a group.
Yeah.
I'll just post things. Well, we have a text chain where I'm just like, I'm tired. And then everybody will be like, you know, or yesterday I posted a picture of Kirby naked on the toilet reading a book. You know, so just funny, like, happy Monday, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but like sleep training came up the other day and I posted about I'm dying, I'm going to lose my mind. And it was all that they just came out in a force.
Yeah.
Read this, look at this, da da da. What do you need? Da da. Even when she was like, and when she's losing her mind crying, let me know. I'll send you some TikTok videos, like to distract. Like men don't have. I mean, I think some do, but it's not as. It's not a given. Like women, we seek it out, we find it, and it's
still very just that communal space is so like ingrained, right? You know, I don't know if most men seek out that type of support. You know, there is this kind of like, well, I can figure it out.
I can do this.
I can do this. So, I mean, not to say you can't, but it's easier if you feel supported, and specifically by like another man, like another dad. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Nah, it didn't work out. Or I did, you know, that didn't work out.
Hey, maybe not try that.
I mean, it's so huge. Like, you know, Sharina.
Yeah.
She's about to have a baby. You know, and so I sent her all this stuff. I looked at her list, her baby shower list, and I was like, you need this and this. And she was like, oh, thank you. I never would have known.
Sure.
You know, and it's like, yeah, that's passing on information and being there for each other. It's huge. And like Jason, there've been a couple of times I think he has some really close friends from high school and college that have reached out to him and been like, oh, if you need anything or if you da da da. And so I think he's talked to a couple.
Okay.
You know, when things have come up, but it's not like he has a text chain, or it's not like he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be really hard. I mean, I think about, and especially if we're talking about, enriching fatherhood, right? I think that there are these kind of more traditional ways of fathers just being kind of like simple with like, well, this is my job, and like I just let the mom do it. I'll just let your mother do it, or that's just one example, right? There's many different dynamics.
We've had talks about that,
right? Like, well, yeah,
I don't want it all to be on me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and you need, but there's people who still like who grew up in that, and breaking away from whatever I mean, again, talking about therapy. Getting used to
the new norms, the new,
breaking out of the shit that you hated or that you saw as problematic, even
or when you find yourself doing.
Oh yeah, like absolutely, you're doing the thing. You're like,
and that's been painful because, like, as a feminist, as a woman who has like banked her, like, I find myself in certain roles or in, that I'm enjoying, that I, and I'm just like,
what the hell?
I shouldn't be doing this. I'm a feminist. Wait a minute. Like, I cook more. Joseph, I've really gotten into cooking during the pandemic.
Oh shit.
I don't know
what the hell? I don't know what the fuck is going on either.
Like, I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy watching people, like my family, eat what I've cooked.
I love that you have started talking like this when you're talking about cooking. Like someone's like, look, okay, don't
tell me about it.
Don't you tell a fucking soul.
But I'm into it.
But I'm really into this shit.
And I enjoy it. Like, like I enjoy finding recipes and cooking.
Do you have
I'm good at it.
Do you have an apron? Have you bought an apron yet?
I have not, but I want one.
I know you do. I know you do. This is great. I like it. See, this is the shit that people need to hear. It's okay. You can still be a feminist and cook your ass off. And
yes.
Just
burn my bra in the process.
special sauce. Is that burned bra? Under. Damn. You didn't put your bra in this one, Claudia.
All this.
Oh man. Woo. See. So we could do this forever if you want.
Forever. I miss you.
I miss you
Are you
too.
coming? Are you gonna?
I don't know.
You're not coming back.
I'm not coming back. No, I'm coming back. I don't know how. I don't know how. This is gonna be if it wasn't so hot outside, I was gonna do the podcast outside. And
how hot is it? How hot is it?
It's it's kind of hot. It's like 90 today. And it feels okay. If you're walking outside, like it feels good. But if you're just sitting,
sweat. And I don't like to sweat unless I'm working out.
Let's working out, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it inside, AC, but it's fine. But yeah, it's. I'm across the street. I'm across the street.
Oh, you motherfucker!
It's gonna be really hard. I mean, I've been here just over 2 weeks, and it has been in every way, shape, or form a learning experience. God, part of my such a huge part of my developmental process.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a place I've never been before.
Right.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Everything's new. Everything's like, oh, okay. Water's always been the thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
My second day here, go swim out in the ocean, and I come back, and a 19-year-old kid, are you crazy? And I was like, what? No, I'm not gonna try, man. That's one thing. I'm learning the patois accent,
okay.
but I haven't got it yet where I can repeat it. I don't want to butcher it. Yeah. I don't want to butcher it. I'm getting there though. I'm getting there.
Is it crazy to swim in the ocean?
It's crazy because people don't go out. I guess it's as far. I enjoy. Yeah, that's what I was like.
Far? What do you mean?
Like the distance that I'm going out.
Oh, okay. You're not just playing around in the shower.
No. I'm going to work out. Yeah, I'm swimming.
Okay.
And so, he's been, at one point he was swimming with me every day. He was like, I do that every day. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll come out. And then, I haven't swum in a long time because of, COVID and everything. And I got tired of swimming in the damn open water in San Francisco. That shit was cold.
Cold. It's not okay.
Cold. Ugh.
It's all summer, right? The kids were like, you gonna come in? I was like, no.
You crazy?
No, there needs to be one person watching.
You smoking meth?
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. You think I'm gonna get now? What? You're crazy. No, I mean,
I'm not on meth.
I'm not on meth.
If I was, I'd be in there.
Woo! Oh, so yeah. I mean, I'm just.
To the store, we're gonna swim.
Oh, guess we're gonna swim tonight. Oh man. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just he feels like a kid at the club. He's he's 19. And it's also funny to see 19 again. I'm like, dude, you're 19.
Oh,
Oh, dude, you're just like
little puppy.
a puppy and growing up in Jamaica in the islands. It's just, a different world.
Wow.
It's different. But yeah, he's been introducing me all the vendors on the street, and
Mm-hmm.
um, they kind of take care of him. He does like little odd jobs here and
Okay,
there. So
that's cool.
yeah, I mean, it's just been a humbling experience, a really healthy experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get out of San Francisco. Like I was not,
Yeah,
I had to tell myself like, you're not doing great.
yeah,
You're not doing great.
yeah.
So make a
Make it-
decision.
Yeah.
And my wellness, my health and wellness has gone through the roof.
Yay.
So yeah, how I'm gonna get back, I don't know.
Take your time.
I have no idea how I'm gonna come back.
Maybe you don't, and that's okay. Maybe just come visit. Like,
I'm trying to work on this school schedule where it's 9 and 3. So 9 months maybe in the States, 3 months
okay,
somewhere else. Uh,
okay.
but we'll see.
Hey,
Hey,
who knows?
who knows? I don't know.
What time is it there?
It's East Coast time, so
Okay, okay,
it's 2 o'clock. I got
okay.
class. Got class in 20 minutes. See how much? I got class in 20 minutes.
I
So,
don't.
guess what I don't have?
That.
That.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, I'm here. Yeah, I don't know. I go on and on. That's a whole nother conversation that
Aw,
I'm still processing kind of what a remarkable experience this is. And like,
it's sort of like when it's,
yeah,
when you've kind of gotten a hold of it, what it feels like.
yeah, it was just something. It was one of those things. It's one of those things where you say it and you're like, I'm gonna move somewhere,
Right.
and people don't really like. People don't believe you. People don't believe. They're like, are you still going?
You
Oh, are you going? Like, yeah. Did you get your ticket? Like,
yeah.
yeah, I got my ticket. So, like, you got a place to stay? Yes. And so there's a little bit of like you get into those like moments of self doubt, like, am
Yeah.
I doing it? Yeah. I mean, I got my ticket. And
You just gotta go for it.
you
Like
gotta
it's
go. You gotta
like,
go. You
you
gotta
just
go for it.
I tell the kids at the club this all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're I put it in increments. I'm like, your 20s, go.
No.
Just go. Just
No.
don't let anything hold you back. I moved to so many different places, and then your 30s, like you're figuring it out. Like, what do you want to do? But when you have an idea, like I in my 30s, I moved to Colorado at one point,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved back. And people were the same way. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna move back to San Francisco, like, or when I was in Oklahoma, oh, you're moving to San Francisco. Oh, okay.
All right.
When yeah, I'm leaving. Oh, well, it's again courage, and a lot of people
No, it's hard.
sadly, it's hard.
It's
It's
hard.
hard. You get in a place where it's like where I'm at in my life right now, it would take a lot for me to move.
Oh, sure.
I've moved so many times and I
Yeah.
know what it takes to start over,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm tired.
Tired. So tired.
I don't have it in me.
Can't keep
You
doing
know,
this. Yeah.
like kids, and yeah. So it's like, so when you told me you were leaving, I was like, yes,
Go.
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 Like,
Leave this place.
leave this place.
Leave
Like,
this.
it's just, I was so excited for you. And so, like, amen. That's just awesome.
It's
Like,
something.
wonderful.
It's something I looked at. I said, I'm gonna look back at this and be like, this was such a great idea. Like
Yes.
10 years, 5 years, whatever it may be.
Right.
I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna tell a story about when I got to Jamaica. And they're like, wait,
Yeah.
you lived in Jamaica? Like, yeah, I lived in Jamaica for a few months.
Yeah.
What What was going on? Oh, the world was falling apart.
Claudia showed up.
Claudia showed oh, oh, oh.
Oh my God! Yes, like I moved to New York like that. I lived in New York for a year, and it was it's like, you're moving to New York, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a place to stay? Nope.
Nope.
You have like
sure did.
You gotta go.
You figured out.
You figure it out, and then you get, and then when you're faced with something that seems insurmountable, you go, "Oh man, I fucking moved to Jamaica. I can do this.
I can do it."
I used to always, I moved to New York at 25. I got this. Like
we'll figure it out.
Like
all right. Well, we'll keep doing this, but
yes.
we gotta finish up here because
okay.
I gotta go to class.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Arguably much more important. I'm actually surprised I didn't have to go to the bathroom. Man, there's been a couple podcasts I've done. I'm holding on for dear life. Like there was a time where I thought about like, what if I just created a little bucket right here? It was a thought. I mean, I wasn't really going to do it, but I just thought about it because I was like, oh my God, like sometimes I'd be so bad. And I wonder, like, because I don't really watch the podcast over again. Sometimes I'll watch bits and pieces of it. But I wonder sometimes, like, does it look like I have to go to the bathroom? Like, am I constantly moving around? Like, yep, yep. Oh,
hold on a second.
1 second. So I'm gonna last question before we dip out. What is something that you love or that you're in love with right now?
First thing that came to my mind, being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's there aren't enough people in the world. When I see good people having children, it makes me happy because that we're producing good people. And,
sure.
And I know I'm doing right by my kids. I know that when I fall, I'm gonna ask for help. I know that when I fuck up, I'm gonna tell them I'm sorry.
No.
And I just love every laughter, every smile, every tear, and it's just fun. There's a lot of dancing in my house, and there's a lot of just running around and just giggles, and and so it's I love it, and it worth every ounce of the journey. Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah. Damn right.
Well, my friend, we're I'll hit you up sometime. We'll talk again. I'll send you
so much.
I love you too. I'll send you some pictures.
Yes, and I will send you some profanity. Send you some pictures of what I'll send you some dirty diaper pictures.
Right. A pile of shit. All right. I'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of the day.
And let me know when you post it.
I'm gonna let you know.
Let me know.
I'm gonna let you know.
Have fun in class. I love you, sweetie. Thank you for this.